It's been revealed there was a 23-minute delay from when the first fire alarm sounded at Notre Dame to the second. That may have played a critical role in the inferno that destroyed so much of the roof. Tonight we can show you inside the ruined cathedral that the French president has vowed to rebuild.
Inside a house of God, what's being called a miracle. Notre Dame, horribly scarred, but still alive. Key artefacts were in danger, but undamaged. Statues stained with ash were today cut from unsecure stone to be restored and one day returned. The 700-year-old rose windows and glass remarkably survived the heat.
Nous sommes ce peuple.
I'm telling you this tonight with force. We are a people of builders. We will rebuild Notre Dame Cathedral even more beautifully than before.
Parisians and foreigners were in tears today, and thousands came to see the damaged landmark.
What did you think when you were watching it?
Well, it's always very painful because it's like, you know, a dear friend.
The roof and wooden spire will likely be rebuilt from French oak, planted in Versailles 160 years ago. These trees went into the ground when the now destroyed beams were created from 1,300 trees in the same rows.
It won't just take money, but time. The chaplain here says it could be at least 5 years before the faithful are welcomed back inside Notre Dame. In reality, it could be much longer.
It's still strong and it's still here. It's still beautiful.
But perhaps even more could have been saved. The first fire alarm was triggered at 6:20 p.m. No flames were found until a second alarm 23 minutes later. Then the order was issued. People out first, then art treasures, then save the building. Dozens of people at the cathedral have been questioned by investigators.
We want more than anyone to shed light on the origin of this tragedy.
The cause, at this stage, is still being called an accident.
It may be decades before it's up and running again, but that's just another chapter in its story.
New pages in the story for a church that survived world wars, a revolution, and now a modern-day inferno. In Paris, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
The French president has a 5-year plan to restore the flame-ravaged Notre Dame Cathedral. Initial investigations have determined the first alarm sounded 23 minutes before the danger was discovered. Europe correspondent Michael Best reports from Paris.
In a city overwhelmed with sorrow, there's a symbol of hope in the ruins. The altar cross undamaged, amid piles of charred rubble, pools of water and a blanket of soot and ash. A severely damaged cathedral now lies open to the heavens. The fact it's still standing is because of this. The firefighters who risked their lives running into the burning building and attacking the flames from the inside. It was chaotic and dangerous, with beams and embers falling from the ceiling. But they stopped the flames spreading to the northern belfry, stopped the building from collapsing, and saved many treasures, artworks and precious artefacts, candelabras, ancient furnishings, and priceless relics like the crown of thorns, believed to have been worn by Christ.
La tunique de Saint-Louis qui sont en sécurité.
The country's culture minister says they were taken to City Hall for safekeeping, and artworks later transferred to the Louvre for specialist attention. All 3 of the rose stained glass windows were saved, as well as the great organ, which has led hymns at some of the city's most historic events. The police investigation is progressing quickly. Prosecutors believe the blaze was started by accident, not arson. 50 investigators are interviewing witnesses, including the construction workers suspected of inadvertently sparking the blaze. Fire crews and engineers are continuing to assess the building's integrity.
Globalement, la structure tient bon.
The structure is holding up well, says a French Interior Minister, but some weak points have been identified, especially around the vault, meaning the ceiling. Urgent work is being done to make it safe, and it's being watched by tens of thousands, Parisians and tourists all transfixed by what's left behind. Francine Reynal has lived here for decades.
It's very emotional. It's just like losing someone that you knew well. As the French say, ça te dépasse. It's overwhelming.
The hope here now is that this outpouring of emotion, this sense of loss that's driving people onto the street, can motivate a nation and the world to back what will be an enormous mission to rebuild. Church bells around the world are ringing in solidarity as money flows in for reconstruction. More than $1 billion so far, including huge donations from France's biggest companies and richest people, as Emmanuel Macron addressed the nation, outlining his hope for a 5-year rebuild.
Je crois très profondément.
It is up to us to transform this disaster into an opportunity to come together, he said.
This is Paris for us. It's Notre Dame and Tour Eiffel. It's very important for us. We have to have again this beautiful image for the Notre Dame.
One French minister said today, Notre Dame is the cathedral of the people, of France and of the world. Now the people are showing faith that a masterpiece so severely damaged will be restored to full glory.
And Michael Best is in Paris tonight. Michael, what happens next?
Well, Peter, firefighters are still working to shore up the weak points in the building. That was estimated at taking 48 hours after the blaze was extinguished, so there's at least another day of work there. It's then that clean-up crews can get in and remove any remaining artwork and start clearing out what is a lot of rubble inside. As for the rebuild, well, the Vatican and the Pope are offering technical assistance, and Emmanuel Macron says he wants to rebuild Notre Dame to be even more beautiful than before. We can hope, Peter.